What up, what up? And welcome into the latest episode of the NLB Pod. I'm your host, Dr. Fairbank Ture Jr., and I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are getting enjoying that basketball season is coming back. The NBA is coming back. College basketball about to start. The WNBA playoffs have been fantastic. Hope you guys have been tuning into all of that because I've been watching more of the WNBA playoffs and watching New York versus Vegas, a rematch of last year's finals, has been awesome to watch. New York just beat Las Vegas 3 games to one, but I was just astonished by the skill level, the physicality. Just watching players like Kelsey Plum, who is 5'8", they keep calling her short on the broadcast, but she's built. She's a dog. She just gets after it. And then you look at Asia Wilson, who best player in the game, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, all ballers, but there's ballers all throughout. And look at the other side on the Connecticut, Minnesota side, it's been super physical and it's been super captivating to watch because these ladies are competing to win a chip and they're really close and just watching the amount of skill and how much work that these ladies put in because they play basketball year round. They're about to finish this playoff run and then they're going overseas to Europe to go play some more and then they're coming back in May for the WNBA season again. It's like they don't really get that much of a break and it's a testament to them to keep working and working and working. But I also think it got me thinking about how are they able to maintain this and how are they able to prepare for a long season. And so that's what the genesis or where the origin of this episode is coming from. And we're just going to dive into how I would look at programming for a year. And each episode is going to be a different block. So off season, preseason, in season, and just how we would program training wise and what we need to look out for and what things we're trying to focus in. Yeah, makes sense. All right, let's dive into it. So if we're talking about the off season is when you're not really playing that much games. Hypothetically, probably if you're in high school, you might be playing AAU, travel ball, whatever the case may be. If you're college or the pros, you got some time off, and this is your time to really just start to work on your game. One, two, we're looking at trying to build some armor. So building some resistance or building some variability to allow for you to disperse the stress throughout your body and not have it all go to the same areas. And so this is where getting strong happens in the off season. This is where we work on getting in shape, getting in basketball shape, building your aerobic capacity, and making sure that you can go for as long as you need to go. And then just working on the foundational movement patterns and getting really good at them, getting really good at the basics. And this is where I'll spend a lot of the time just making sure that the foundational movement patterns of squatting and hinging and um, upper body push, pull, and core engagement and a variety of planes being able to one produce force with the core and then resist force. Because anytime you take a bump or you're in the air and you're trying to navigate around people, you got to make sure your core is one steady, and then two, if you got to bump somebody, you're not bumped off your line and you're able to stay steady through um all angles that you're taking. So those are the main focuses of just being strong, building your aerobic base, and working on the foundational patterns. And what we're going to focus on, if we, let's say we have 12 weeks, we're going to work on hypertrophy, which is basically increasing muscle size. So the volume might be a little higher. The number of reps that you do in the set might be a little higher, but your intensity is going to be a little lower. So you're not going all out. And we're just looking probably like a three sets of 10, 3 sets of 12 at a 60, 70% of your one rep max, which we would determine over the course of the time, but not really something that's going to tax you out. I want you to feel like you got 4 reps left in the tank. So if we're doing a goblet squat, let's say. Once we hit that 12, I want you to feel like you can do 16 reps at that given weight, but you can't do any more. And I think that's a good place to start at, and then we can progress it over time. As you start to put on this hypertrophy, as you start to put on the size, then we start to transition to strength and just making sure that you're strong in any and all positions that you need to get into on two legs, on one leg, on different core variations, half kneeling, tall kneeling, side planks. We're going to work on a lot of different positions to make sure that you're ready. This is also the time where we'll work on just making sure that you're also healthy, any nagging things that brought you down at the end of the season as you start to wear down a little bit. Just making sure that you're fully healthy, working on your mobility. Big toe mobility is big, hip extension, hip mobility is big, shoulder mobility, thoracic rotation, making sure all those check boxes are checked so that when it comes time this season, we don't really got to address these things. It's more about maintenance. And then aerobic development will be put in slowly ramping you up. I'm not gonna send you back and running 50 suicides or something just to get you in shape, but a step by step, easy, like working on getting you starting with a couple rounds of whether it's on the court, whether it's playing the game, or it's on the assault bike, or first a climber or row, or something low impact that we can work on building your aerobic capacity. And we're just trying to keep your heart rates in a certain range to start between 120, 150, 160. Just keeping it at a zone two, easy, building your cardiac base. And then as we progress through the season, we'll start to play around with more intervals where we increase the intensity, decrease the amount of time you're doing things. But early on, it's a little longer duration, maybe 25, 35 minutes, keeping your heart rate between 120, 150. And you can do that a lot of different ways. You can do it on the bike or the rower or whatever, swimming, but you can also get it on the court, whether it's shooting and just catching, going to different spots and getting your rebound and staying on the move, ball handling drills, working on creativity, but things to just get your heart rate up, but not having you feeling like you're gassed and you can't talk. That's big. I want you to be able to talk while you're doing these conditioning and helping you make sure that when it comes time that you have a good base for when it comes time to ramp things up and you've already built the foundation. And when we talk about how we would program things, like how would I program things? Honestly, I'm not looking for you to stay in the gym for 2 hours, 3 hours. I think we could be in and out, warm up, get things going, go through the main lifts, go through accessories, 45 minutes to an hour tops. So we don't need to be wasting too much time in the gym. Um, I think if we can be efficient with it, then it just gives us more time to recover, film study, go work on our game, rest, whatever you got to do. So, along with the full body lifts, we'll break down how I would work, how a program might look like. So, if we're in the beginning of your block, you got your warm up, probably some 5, 10 minutes warming up with mobility, dynamic warm ups, getting your joints going, getting your body temperature up, getting your tissues warm, getting you ready to go for what's coming ahead. After you finish your dynamic warm up, that's what we're going to do our fast things, whether it's acceleration. So we're doing like 10 yard, like working on our starts and working on our first step and maybe four big steps trying to get out as fast as you can. And then more we might work on change of direction and working on hip turns and being able to react quickly and not be slow or not be inefficient with our movement patterns. Like if we're on defense and not being able to hip turn is just how we're able to move our body quickly while not necessarily sliding. Shuffling can sometimes take a long time and someone has a full head of steam. You want to be able to hip turn and keep them in front while while following the person that you're guarding or trying to get to a spot before they get to their spot. So we might work on speed, reactive stuff, things moving things fast in that first low block. And I want everyone to be primed, ready to go when they're doing this stuff because the intent's going to be high, but the duration of it's going to be low. And then as we get into our resistance training, our main lifts, that's where the volume might increase a little bit and the intensity was not going to be as high. But we're just working on those foundational movement patterns, like I said. And as you start to get comfortable with those, then we can start to progress those. But it's really about building your base right now in this off-season phase. And I want the base to be really sturdy and really strong. So then by the time we get to end season, we've already done all the work that we need to do. And now it's just about maintaining it in the season. But this is the time when you get better in the off season. This is the time when you can devote a lot of time to the weight room and to playing basketball and improving as a player because you just have the most time. You're not playing games or you're not playing as many games. So you can really just hone in on what you need to hone in on. And I think having this plan beforehand is the most important thing. You have to know what you have to address. If you know you have to put on size, then we got to make sure that our plan is tailored towards putting on size, but also making sure that you're a good mover. If your plan is to get faster, we have to make sure that we address getting faster. Or if you want to be able to move side to side a little easier, a little more efficiently, and understanding different angles, then we got to make sure that we have that in our training program, and you're not doing that in the season when you don't have as much time. So that's a little bit about the off season. We'll go through next week. We'll go through you'll be able to see a full breakdown of this. We'll put it I'll screen share and we'll have a sample program of what this looks like on so you guys can follow along on YouTube. But I hope that makes sense. I hope that off-season plan makes sense. That's how I would go about it. That's how I program for a lot of the people that I work with. And I think it's really about doing the basic things really, really well and doing the simple things really, really well and being really good at them and figuring out how you move and how you work. So then we can just build on it and progress it over time. You're not going to be doing the same things that you're doing on week one, on week 12, but things are going to get progressively harder. Intensities are going to get higher, but we're going to slowly ramp it up to make sure that you're able to handle everything and feel good as you're getting into preseason and as you're getting into the season. But that's all I got for y'all today. Next week, we'll come back with a sample program so you guys can see what that looks like. Till then, I appreciate y'all catching the pod, and we'll catch y'all next week. Peace.